Alors aujourd'hui, on a une visite vraiment très très inspirante, une rencontre magnifique avec Harris qui est venu d'Angleterre et qui a un parcours incroyable. En fait, il voyage à travers le monde à la recherche de l'histoire. Il est passionné de l'histoire, mais juste pas passionné dans les livres, il est plus que ça. Il dépasse la simple lecture du livre, il va sur le terrain pour découvrir par lui-même l'histoire. Alors, Harris, barakallahu fik, merci beaucoup d'être venu parmi nous. Est-ce que tu peux te présenter?
Sure, so my name is Harris. I'm a video journalist. I work on Muslim history, mostly focusing on lost Muslim history. So, destroyed mosques, remnants of Muslims across Europe, across the Middle East. And now my journey has brought me here in France. I've been here for about 3 weeks. I'm driving in my 20-year-old Toyota Yaris, touring Muslim history across Europe, speaking with the communities. And of course, alhamdulillah, meeting you and the brothers and the beautiful bookstore here in near Paris. So we've heard a lot about Muslims in France, especially in the UK. We're very close to France. Geographically speaking, even culturally, I feel like we have a lot of similarities, a lot of Muslim communities. Obviously, France has the largest Muslim community in Europe. So we've always had this perception, especially in the UK, that France is a place where Muslims are not safe, where there's no established, institutions and even history. And I particularly was interested in Muslim history in France because it's very scarcely discussed. People very rarely talk about Muslim history. It's sort of sidelined to just maybe Spain. That's what we think of Muslim history in Europe. So I really wanted to put it on the map. I really wanted to put France and its Muslim history on the map for us to know that the Muslims have been here for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
Est-ce que tu peux nous dire les lieux où tu es parti en France et dans ces lieux-là, lequel t'a marqué le plus?
Yeah, so I started the journey up in Normandy. Obviously, I like history along with Muslim history. I like normal history. Things like the World War II, the bunkers in Normandy. Started in Normandy, made my way through to Tours was one of the third destinations on my trip. Tours, of course, you have the Muslim history, the Umayyads. They had reached all the way at the Battle of Tours, as I'm sure you're well aware of. And to meet the Muslim communities in Tours, of course, the Battle of Poitiers. I visited the site, the actual battleground where they said the battle is. Had a little bit of difficulty trying to find and trace the evidence of Muslims there. Even historians, they're quite, they're not fully, they don't fully agree on the location of the battle. But nevertheless, we took some footage and, made a quick video there. Then the journey took us further down south. I forgot the name of the particular village, but it was near Ali's. This is where, I forgot his name, subhanAllah. The man was martyred as he was praying his salah in sajda. A non-Muslim had come in and asked him, how do you pray salah? And then he stabbed him. I forgot the name of the person. The Islamophobe attack is Sisse, right? Abu Bakr Sisse. Yeah. So that was part of the journey, is to also document the struggles of Muslims here in France, and to really it's out of nowhere. It's not on the main route, but I wanted to dedicate in Sadaqah Jariyah for Abu Bakr and his life, speak with the locals there. The journey then took us further south into the region of Toulon. Of course, you have Muslim history in Toulon. You have actually before that in Tours, we went to Amboise. Of course, the Muslims were there. Amir Abdul Qadir, he spent his time there for 4 years in the prison, in the sijin. And we took some footage. Of course, I did the adhan at the very place in which they said Amir Abdul Qadir and his entourage performed adhan. So that idea of showing the tactile history. History is, of course, alhamdulillah, we have the books. But for the younger generation, they really like to see history with visuals. So being at the location, showing and demonstrating, it's very much a real subject. Then, alhamdulillah, we went to, I say we as a royal we, but I went to the south, so where the former emirate of Fraxenatum was. But just before that was Toulon, and the history of Toulon is, of course, extensive. But just for 8 months, Toulon was under de facto Ottoman control. The Ottomans were there, they had wintered there for 8 months. They say the cathedral was turned into a mosque. That was interesting to look at. I spoke to the locals. What did they think of the Ottomans? What did they think of the Muslims? Mixed opinions. But it was nevertheless very interesting to know that the history is so embedded. It's not just the Umayyads. It's not just the recent Muslims in World War I, World War II, but it even stretches beyond to the Turks, the Ottoman Caliphate. And that for me was interesting, to know the South is so embedded in Muslim history. Of course, you have the Muslims of Fraxenatum. That was a hunt of its own. And I think that, as you asked the question, what was your favorite part? I think that was the favorite part, trying to hunt and find whatever's left, whether it's street names named after Muslims, whether it's gates named after Muslims. And that for me was it was like if you know what Indiana Jones is, trying to hunt and find whatever's little and whatever little is remaining from that time.
Ok. Et j'ai vu dans tes vidéos que tu es parti à Ramatuelle, donc qui est une ville typique de la présence musulmane en France, puisque ça vient de Rahmatullah. Comment a été l'accueil de la population? Est-ce que tu as été bien accueilli? Est-ce que tu as pu parler avec les gens sur place? Qu'est-ce que tu peux nous dire de l'accueil des Français en général, et en particulier dans cette ville?
Yeah, so one French fella, I was holding my camera, he knew that I was recording. So of course he asked me, what are you doing? And he heard my British accent. So he didn't immediately know I'm Muslim. So he was very accommodating, really nice guy. And he showed me around, you know, considering I'm brown, that's quite a big thing for someone to do. So, but we were getting stared at the entire way because people are looking, why is there a brown guy with a white guy? And so you do get the stares. And I have heard from people, I don't know how true this is, but Ramatuelle is very like Islamophobic, very far right in its nature. So the fella, I asked him about the history of Ramatuelle. I said, do you know about the history? Obviously I know, but I wanted to have the opinion of the locals. So he took me to like a gathering outside of the church. And you have an old man, you have all the old people gathering, it's where they gather. And we asked the question. And the moment I asked, so I edged my way into the question. So I asked, you know, were the Romans here? And then right at the end I said, what about the Saracens? What about the Muslims? And immediately when I said that, they all looked at me and they started whispering amongst themselves. You can tell it wasn't a welcomed question. And they did everything to deflect from the Muslim history of Saint-Tropez, Ramatuelle, that region, the southern region, everything. They denied it flat out. They said, yeah, pirates were here, they came and went. Ramatuelle didn't originate from Muslims, it originated from someone else. And you could tell it wasn't just here that I experienced this erasure of history. I wouldn't say erasure, but complete denial of history, of the Muslim history in France. In tours, I had people say, you know, Abdul Qadir was never here, and this is nothing to do with French people. This is just a random side history of something. You know, this is not nothing to do with us, French people. But it is. And I experienced that with the gentleman who I spoke with in Ramatuelle. You can tell he didn't like it. And they did everything to deflect from the question.
Okay. Il paraît que tu dors dans ta voiture. Est-ce que c'est vrai?
The rumors are true, yes.
Vrai.
So for 3 weeks, subhanAllah, more than 3 weeks now, I've slept in the car. I've not touched a bed. The first time I touched a bed was when I went to Sudan. So I had a brief pause in my road trip to go to Sudan to do some aid and report. And that was the first time I slept on a bed. And the bed was literally just a stretcher and it had like strings attached and you just lie on the bed. There's no pillow, there was no mattress, just very simple. So yes.
Mais tu sais que dans l'islam, normalement, tu as droit à 3 jours. Tu pourrais aller dans chaque ville, demander à un musulman de t'héberger 3 jours. Pourquoi tu préférais dormir dans ta voiture?
Of course. And literally, wherever I went, everybody insisted. They said, you must sleep at my house. As brother Ahmed welcomed me. And he said, you must sleep. He had the bed ready. And everybody, wherever I went, you saw the beauty of the iman, the cultures of the people. Even in the smallest of towns where there's a small mosque, I was welcomed. They made me dishes. They treated me. And this is the true hospitality. And that's why I really wanted to do France. Because we hear so much about the Muslim community here, but to experience it firsthand. Wallahi, one really, really beautiful example that made me cry. I was on my way to Paris, very small mosque. I stopped over for Jum'ah. You know, I was trying to find mosques along the way to make my Jum'ah Salah. And after Jum'ah, people asked, you know, why is there a UK car? The number plate UK, how have you come all the way here? And a Syrian refugee family, a mother and a father, they were sitting on the ground, they were eating their couscous, and they insisted on me to eat with them. And I said, no, barakallah, because subhanAllah, they looked like they were not well off. And they insisted on me to eat. And I sat there eating with 2 Syrian refugees. And the people that would walk by, they would invite them. They said, come, in a jama'ah, there's more barakah. So that's the beauty of the people. SubhanAllah, it's really, truly amazing. And that's why I sleep in the car. So I can be mobile, I can travel to the ends of the world without needing to, you know, be dependent on anybody. So, alhamdulillah.
Lorsque tu viens en France, tu viens pour découvrir la présence musulmane. Comment se fait-il que tu te retrouves ici à Bayyinah, à Argenteuil? Est-ce qu'on fait partie de l'histoire de la présence musulmane? On fait partie des archives de l'histoire pour que tu te retrouves chez nous? Comment tu passes du château d'Amboise à Argenteuil?
Because I couldn't visit France without visiting, subhanAllah, Thomas. It was impossible. Even before I came, like 3 or 4 weeks, I messaged you and I said, I have to meet you. We have to do an interview. Because, subhanAllah, you're one of the leading figures of the narrative of Muslims in France and its history. Although you're majority in Algeria all the time, we managed to, alhamdulillah, meet you today. And I think it couldn't have been done without you. And without, seeing the wealth of knowledge here and the wealth of knowledge within yourself, it couldn't have been completed.
Dans quel pays maintenant tu vas te rendre? Où est-ce que tu vas aller continuer ton exploration?
Inshallah, next. Along the way, there's a few locations in Paris. Verdun is where the French memorial for the Muslims are. So there's a few locations on my way to Germany. Inshallah, after Germany, there's 1 or 2 Muslim history locations, not too much. From Germany, then I'll go down to Austria. Of course, a lot of Muslim history in Austria. There is the Ottomans, the siege. Then from Austria, I'll make my way to Slovenia. And then Slovenia, Croatia. And then my final destination, inshallah, is Bosnia. So the trip is driving from Britain to Bosnia and seeing all the Muslim history along the way.
Qu'est-ce que tu as appris le voyage? Parce que comme tu voyages beaucoup, il y a beaucoup de leçons à tirer dans le voyage. Tu peux nous donner une leçon que tu as appris dans tes voyages et qui pourra peut-être motiver ceux qui vont regarder la vidéo à faire comme toi, à aller explorer le monde?
I mean, this is a lesson I've already learned, and a experience that I've already had, and that is the beauty of our ummah, in the sense that I don't speak French, I don't speak Arabic, or the dialects. I don't know too much about the dialects and the language. But as soon as I walk into a mosque, if it's far away in a small village, if it's in a big city, I can walk into that mosque, I can say salam, and they can hug me, they could smile at me and treat me as if I was theirs. I was one of them. I was a brother. And no matter, people ask me, aren't you lonely driving on your own? And I said, how can I be lonely? I'm with the jama'ah, the people that I drive along the way, they make me feel at home. And if there's no mosque, for example, in Normandy, in the north, there's very few mosques, very few Muslim community. And I felt homesick. I felt, well, where's the masajid? I need to find a mosque. And the moment you step in a mosque, you feel like you're at home. Wherever you are in the world, whether it's the Balkans, whether it's the Middle East, Africa, the beauty of Iman is that we are one, we are equal. Whether we're in France or in Europe or Middle East, it's the unification, no matter what ethnicity, is the beautiful thing about this trip. And I'm sure along the way, I'll be meeting more inspiring people and people who are willing to throw everything at me to welcome me.
Magnifique. Merci beaucoup.
Barakallah.
C'était une belle rencontre, vraiment très inspirant.
Amin.
Et continuez de le suivre sur sa page parce qu'on apprend beaucoup avec.
And inshallah, you're going to accompany me.
Inch'Allah.
Inch'Allah.
Mais je dors pas dans la voiture.